I'm a student at Full Sail, and this is my presentation analyzing Benjamin Zander's TED Talk. I'm here to answer a few questions that were presented to me. There's 7 questions, and I'm going to try to get through these as smoothly as possible. The first question is, who is the speaker, and what is the main point of his thesis? Well, the speaker is Benjamin Zander. He is an American composer from Great Britain, and he was born in the late 30s. His TED Talk is really about saying how classical music isn't dead. A lot of people may think it's dead, but he says, it's very much alive. And that's basically the point of his thesis. He's promoting classical music. The second question is, how did the speaker capture the attention of the audience? What methods did he use? I think he used a couple of methods, one of which would be storytelling. He told a lot of stories. Right off the bat, he started with a story about the 2 salesmen, that were trying to sell shoes, and one of them said, "All hope is lost. These people don't wear shoes." And while the second guy said, "Oh, this is a great opportunity. They don't wear shoes, so now we have someone to sell to." So it's just a contrasting perspective, and it was a really interesting way to bring the people into his presentation, especially when he was saying, well, if someone doesn't listen to classical music, one person may say, "All hope is lost." They don't listen. They're not going to listen. They don't want to listen. While another person may say, they don't listen to classical music. Maybe they should start. Anyway, that was one of his methods. The other method would be the fact that he had a piano there, so he could play the classical music. He could introduce the different techniques of playing the classical music, or how to listen to the classical music. Like when he said, imagine someone that you've lost recently, or someone that you've lost throughout your life, and think of them while you listen to the piece that he was playing. The third question was, which of the 10 commandments does the speaker follow? I think the 10 commandment that he definitely followed was, "Thou shalt tell a story." Obviously he told 4 or 5 stories at least. So he definitely followed that commandment, and I think it worked out really well for him. The fourth question is, how does the speaker follow Nancy's spark line? Nancy's spark line is a diagram of how she believes presentations look, basically on a diagram, and it looks very much like a sine wave. It goes across, up, across, down. It's just a sine, or not sine wave, it's a square wave rather. And she basically says that you're going to talk about how things are and how things ought to be. And you just basically contrast that continually so that you're keeping your audience engaged. And I think he did that really well. Another thing she talks about is adding stories and ways to include your audience, and then, of course, ending with the new bliss, new moon, or, just the revelation. So I think he did a great job of following that. He basically, he said, this is how it is, this is how it should be, told stories in between, engaged the audience by playing music. So, I think he did really well with that altogether. And he did end with that new bliss of telling the story about Auschwitz and saying basically that, I forget what the quote is, written down somewhere. But there was the quote from the lady from Auschwitz, and I thought that was very moving and a very good way to surmise his speech. It was basically that, never again will I say anything if I wouldn't be comfortable with it being my last words. And he says, we won't be able to do that, but we can try. The fifth question is, what was the star moment in the TED Talk? And I think the star moment, the star moment is, basically when the audience really gets captivated, really starts to understand fully what he's talking about. And I think that happened when he was speaking about the kid from Ireland. He basically was teaching a bunch of street kids about classical music. And, he's like, oh, most of them didn't listen to it, but he was playing this song, and the next day he had a kid come back, and it was saying that, oh, I had lost my brother, and I never really got a chance to mourn for him. But when you played that piece, I subconsciously just started to mourn for him and started to cry. And in a positive way, And I thought that was really when people started to understand what he was talking about. The sixth question is to analyze the speaker's delivery. What did the speaker do to do well delivery wise? I think he did everything. He was very captivating. He was happy. He was smiling. And when it wasn't appropriate to smile, he wasn't smiling. He was very, very conscientious of how he was presenting, and how to tell stories, how to really see if the people were listening. He was talking about the sparkle in people's eyes, and he was literally showing, oh, look at the sparkle in his eye. So I think he did really well delivery wise. And the seventh question is how would I, what would I take from this as far as what I would use in presentations? What will I remember to do in my upcoming persuasive called Pecha Kucha presentation? What I learned from this was really that one of the best things to do is to really try to engage your audience, if through story, if through basically doing what you were talking about doing. Like, if you're going to be talking about music, you might play some music, or to really bring the people into what you're talking about, as well as bringing relatable things into it. Like, when you're storytelling a story that is relatable, it really helps to engage your audience because it allows an emotion to be created, and that emotion will really pull them into your presentation. So that's one of the things I learned from Benjamin Zander. And all in all, I really got to give him praise. He's a great presenter. It was a great presentation. So thank you for listening today. And again, my name is Abid Reichelt, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.